head the stuff out. I got with me my Peckway fluffer tedder. It's not the best kind of tedder that's on the market, but I got it for a heck of a deal, and it does the job. It sure beats double raking. So we're gonna get up there and flip some hay. Maybe we'll even bale tonight, depending on how well it dries. Very low humidity today, and there's a bit of a breeze, so there's probably a good chance we're going to go ahead and do some baling. Hopefully, anyway. Well, we made it. So, this particular style of tedder just throws it straight back pretty much, fluffing it in a large arc, and it does it by rotating its assembly as such. Basically, it just flicks the hay. And the idea is to get everything that's underneath this stuff that's dry on top and flip it. So let's give her a go. Select the right gear here. I'm going to try to go diagonally, see if I can spread it better that way. Give that a shot. There it goes. The idea is to pretty much just thin it out, get it spread, that way it can dry a little bit better. Because right now there's still some decent moisture in the hay. I can see why people don't prefer this style. It's going to take a little while. I might try fourth gear and see if that's any better. So this style, as opposed to the regular kind, would be a star style tedder, which actually spins in a different direction, almost like lawnmower blades. And what it does is basically just spreads the stuff outwards instead of upwards. It works a little bit better, but this seems to be doing the job pretty nicely. So by going diagonally, it allows the hay to get onto the ground that might not have as much moisture on it, because all the ground underneath the hay more than likely still has some moisture, since that mat will sit there and kind of retain any kind of liquid. So in doing this, it actually spreads it onto the drier area. I tried fourth gear, but it didn't seem to make much of it. It didn't make for a very good tedding. It pretty much just kept all the hay right in place. That's not really what we're trying to do here. You can kind of sort of tell on this row here where it sort of just agitated the rows a little bit instead of actually spreading it. So it's going to be a little slow, but it's doing the job. As is the case in many things, the learning curve is always present. So it turns out wind direction has a lot more to do with it than just what you do as far as row crossing goes. As you can see, the wind is blowing it right over where I want it with today's wind direction. So with that being said, I'm just going to run up and down the rows, kind of like I did when I mowed it. It's working out really nice. It's actually blowing right over into the dry area. I don't know if it's easy to tell on the camera, but the stuff I flipped is just a tad darker than the stuff that's been sitting. That shows that it's actually getting the wet stuff up to the top and properly flipping the material. All of this to cut down on dry time. it's very possible that by the end of the day I could probably bale this. I'll have to check the moisture a little bit later today. But judging by this stuff, I'm almost positive the other field, as thin as it was, is going to be ready today. So there'll be some running to do today, because after I get done tedding it, I'll give it an hour or two, and I'll go out and rake it. That's doing a nice job. See if I can stay straight. Not bad. There we are in the last row. Everything's nice and fluffed up. It's going to dry out real nice. After this, we head out and do that cow pasture field. Let's see how well that does. Well, we're back in the livestock hay field, and I tell you, I'm kind of just spot tedding it because in a lot of places it's so thin the tedder won't even grab it. So what I'll probably end up doing this evening is hooking the hay rake to the back of the baler. And I'll come on out here, I'll rake it up real quick, and then switch over to the baler and just bale it up real quick, because it's all pretty much dry except for this thicker stuff. But I'm tedding that out now, so by this evening it should be ready to roll. Really high clover content in here. It's actually not the worst hay in the world, just the weeds are a little bit denser than I'd like to advertise, but that's why it's going up as goat hay. Gonna work on tightening up my stuff with the hay bind, leaving stripes. Not used to that one yet. And there we have it. Hay's all turned. Thinking I'll probably come back out tonight for sure. It's pretty dang dry, so I guess we'll see you when we're out here raking. Well, when you're a one-man show and you got to get down the road with multiple things to get the job done, you kind of improvise. So we're going to head out there, do some raking, and hopefully we'll bail her up today. Wind's a little stout, so we're going to see how well that goes. So, let's give it a shot. Well, so far so good. My little parade of rust. Not too mad at this. It's working out pretty decent. Well, that went exceedingly better than I thought it would. Let's go ahead and get to raking. Well, so far the front half's been extremely thin. Got maybe 5 or 6 windrows out here in the whole area. It's gonna get a little bit thicker out through here, but I'm only predicting like 40 bales off of this whole property. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it got a little better up here. But I've been sort of tripling up the windrows a little bit. So they're actually getting a little thicker. That's not too bad. Let's see if I can make a really fat one here. Well, there we are, all rode up. Now let's get that hay baler on there and make a couple of bales. Yeah, here we go. Let's see how she does. Just went, so that's a good thing. But they missed. They only seem to miss on the first bale. and tied up again. Let's just see what it's doing. So it looks like we're still making good knots. For some reason, on the first knot, every time I make hay, the first knot of the day always seems to fail. Those are actually some pretty dense bales. So we've got that little line there. I'll have to rebale, but other than that, we should be fine. Yeah, those are actually some pretty dense bales. Let me get this string out of here, and we'll just run right back over that. And we should be good to go now. Well, I can say one thing, this is probably the easiest hay I've had to bale up. The flapper's hardly even opening. Normally it's got the flapper kicking. We're up to like 15 or so bales so far. I said I predict about 40. Gonna go rebale that real quick. Might try second gear in a second here. Might actually roll. All cleaned up. So here's second gear. Leaves a little behind. I think it's just a first gear machine. So coincidentally, this is actually the same property I started haying on just last year. You may have seen that one video of a little bit of hay getting done. That was out in that field over there. This side is owned by the brother of that field. So it's kind of come full circle here. Just a funny little factoid. I always love the look of a bale speckled field. Good look. 4 more rows to go and then we'll be done. And then we'll have to come out here and pick them all up. And there we are, all done. Nice to have a family that enjoys doing hay stuff. So for these little fields, when they're low yielding like they are, I just bring out the 2 wagons and my lovely wife goes ahead and drives the truck for me. It works out, especially on a day as nice as today. It's only in the 70s.